Hello children, today I am here with the video for the students of class 6, subject Bio. This is chapter number 8 of your Bio syllabus, that is body movements. In this chapter children, we are going to study how different animals move, what is a skeleton system, what are joints, and what kind of movements are shown by the joints. So children, you are here requested to please sit with your pencil and notebook so that you could underline the important topics wherever required and note down the important topics in your notebook by pausing the video. Sit absolutely still. You should not show any movement. You should sit absolutely still. Observe the movements taking place in your body. Yes, you are right. When you are even sitting still, some of the movements that are happening in your body. What are these movements? These movements are the pumping of the blood by the heart, the movement shown by the lungs during the process of respiration. Also, you must be blinking your eyes time to time. Observe the movements in your body as you breathe. Yes, children, when we breathe in means when we inhale, our chest cavity expands. The lungs get filled with oxygen and after few seconds, we exhale out, the chest cavity contracts. This is the movement shown by the body when we breathe. So, there are so many movements that happen in our bodies. When you are writing in your notebook, which part of the body are you moving? Yes, of course, you are moving your hand, you are moving your eyes, and sometimes you are moving your head also. Or, when you turn and look at your friend, which body parts are you moving? You are moving your neck, you are moving your head. So different parts of our body move while you remain at the same place. Yes, even when you are sitting still, different parts of the body shows movement. In these examples, you also move from one place to another. When you get up and go to your teacher or to the school compound or go to the home after school, you walk, you run, you skip, you jump and move from place to place. Let us see how animals move from place to place by filling up the table 8.1. This is the table, you have to fill it up after having discussions with your friends or your teacher. Suppose here it is given cow. Which body part cows have for moving? Yes, cows have legs. And how do they move? They walk. Similarly, humans, they have legs. And how do they move? They walk. And you have to fill the table after discussion. So here is a question by this character Bujo in the NCERT book. Bujo wonders about movements in plants. He thinks. Wonders means he thinks. He is curious to know. He knows that plants do not move from one place to another. All of us know that plants do not move from one place to another. But do they show any other kind of movements? Can you list me the examples? Yes. Plants also show movements. When there is a moving air, the stem and branches and leaves of the plant, they move. Also, there is movement when you touch the touch me not plant, the mimosa plant. It closes its leaf. It is also showing movement. Walk, run, fly, jump, creep, crawl, slither and swim. These are only a few of the ways in which animals move from one place to another. Means these are the ways by which animals move from one place to another. Why are there so many differences in the way that animals move from place to place? Why there is a difference? Have you ever wondered? Yes, of course, there is a difference because, like human beings, they have two legs and they walk on their two legs, so they have to stand erect. The snakes, they do not have legs, so they have to slither on the ground. Just because different animals have different types of body parts which show movement from one place to another, there is a difference between the way of moving also. Why is that many animals walk while a snake slithers or crawls and a fish swim? So let us now read. Yes, there is a difference. Like animals, most of the animals walk and run and jump. But snakes, they slithers. As I have said earlier, snakes do not have legs. They have to slither, they have to crawl on the ground. Fishes, they do not walk or crawl on the ground. They swim in the water. Their body is adapted in such a way so that they could swim in the water. Human body and its movements. Let us look closely at some of our own movements to begin with. So, we are curious to know about various animals and their movements by which they move from one place to another. But to begin with, let us see our movement also. Our movement means the movement shown by the human body. Before looking at all these varieties of movements in animals, yes, we will discuss about the variety of movement in different animals. Before that, we will be studying about the movements shown by the human body. Do you enjoy doing physical exercises at the school? How do you move your hands and legs while doing different exercises? Yes, while doing different physical exercises in the PT class or in the yoga class, you move your hand, your neck, your legs in different directions. Let us try some of the many movements our body is capable of. Bowl an imaginary ball at an imaginary wicket. Just you have to imagine that you are bowling a ball towards an imaginary wicket. How do you move your arm? Yes, you must have rotate your arm, right? So did you rotate it at the shoulder in a circular movement? Yes, of course. Did your shoulders also move? Lie down and rotate your leg at the hip. As you have rotated your arm from the shoulder joint for throwing the ball towards the imaginary wicket, can you rotate your legs also in the same way? No, it is not possible. Bend your arm at the elbow and the leg at the knee. Stretch your arm sideways. Bend your arm to touch your shoulder. You can bend your arm to touch your shoulder with your fingers. Which part of your arm did you bend? Which part? Yes, you have bent your wrist. You have bent the elbow also. Straighten your arm and try to bend it downwards. Are you able to do this? No, we cannot bend our arm downwards. Try to move the various parts of the body and record their movements in table 8.2. So here is the table again. You should try to move the various parts of your body. Here the list of various body parts is given, and you have to try the movements in these parts and you have to fill in the table with your own experience all. Like neck. It rotates completely? No. It rotates partially? Yes. Does it bends? Yes. It can bend towards right or left. Does it lifts? Yes, it can. Means you have to make a tick mark here. Does not move at all. Neck does not move? No. Neck move. Wrist. Can you rotate your wrist completely? Yes. You have to write here yes. So similarly, you have to fill in the table by trying various movements in these body parts and you have to fill this with your own experience. Why is that we are able to move a few parts of our body easily in various directions and some only in one direction? Have you ever wondered that we can move some of the body parts, few body parts easily in various directions, but some body parts show only movement in one direction? Why are we unable to move some parts at all? Now here the question arises, why are we unable to move some parts at all? Unable means we cannot move at all. So here is an activity. Place a scale lengthwise on your arm so that your elbow is in the center. Ask your friend to tie the scale and the arm together. Now try to bend your elbow. Are you able to do this? Can you see? Look at the picture given here. See, here the scale is tied to the arm of the child. Can the child be able to bend his arm? No, cannot. Did you notice that we are able to bend or rotate our body parts in places where two parts of our body seem to be joined together? Like elbow, shoulder or neck. Did you ever notice this? Yes, these places are called joints. So, the definition of joint is, it is the place where two bones join together or meet together to allow movement of the body. Can you name such more joints? If our body has no joints, do you think it would be possible for us to move in any way at all? Is it possible that if there will be no joint at all, we cannot show any type of movement, like we cannot move our jaw, we cannot blink our eyes? Yes? What exactly is joined together at these joints? Now here the question arises, what exactly is joined together at these joints? So press your fingers against the top of your head, face, neck, nose, ear, back of the shoulder, hands and legs including the fingers and toes. Did you get a feel of something hard pressing against your fingers? When you will touch your head, nose, eyes, cheeks, hands, legs and the fingers, you will feel something hard. The hard structures are bones. Yes, these hard structures are bones. You can repeat this activity with other parts of your body also. So how many bones can you count? No, we cannot count, but an adult have 206 bones in the human body. Adult human has 206 bones in his body. Bones cannot be bent. Yes, our bones cannot be bent. So how do we bend our elbow? It is not just one bone from the upper arm to our wrist. Yes, you can feel that also. It is not just one bone from the upper arm, from the shoulder point to the wrist. It is different bones joined together at the elbow. Yes, you are right. There are smaller bones that are joined together at the meeting place, which is elbow. Similarly, there are many bones present in each part of the body. We can bend or move our body only at those points where bones meet. As explained earlier, joints are the places where two or more bones meet to allow movement in the body. Yes, so we cannot bend our bones, but we can bend our body where these bones meet each other. Means we can bend our body at the joints. There are different types of joints in our body to help us carry out different movements and activities. Before that, let me tell you, joints are of three types. Joints are of three types. Number one is fixed joint. Fixed joints, the joint at which the bones do not show any movement. So this type of joints are present in our skull. There are 8 bones joined together, but they do not show any movement. So these are fixed joints. Slightly movable joints. These joints are present in the arms. These are slightly movable joints are present in the backbone. They allow slight movements, and freely movable joints are present in our wrist, in our legs. So these are the three types of joints. Now let us read about some of them. First one is ball and socket joints. Here is an activity. Before explaining this topic, let us see. Roll a strip of paper into a cylinder. Make a small hole in an old rubber or plastic ball under supervision and push the paper cylinder into it as shown in figure 8.2, as you can see here. This is the paper cylinder and this is the hole in the ball, and you are pushing it inside a bowl. You can also stick the cylinder on the ball. Put the ball in a small bowl as it is shown in the picture. As you can see, this is the paper cylinder. The paper strip has been rolled and given the shape of a cylinder. Now this rubber ball is stick to this paper cylinder, and this whole structure is, we are pushing it inside a bowl, small ball. Does the ball rotate freely inside the ball? If you try to give movement here, circular movements, you will see, yes, the ball will rotate freely inside this ball. Does the paper cylinder also rotate? This cylinder also rotate? No, only the ball rotates. Now imagine that paper cylinder is your arm, upper arm, and the ball is its end. The ball is like the part of the shoulder to which your arm is joined. The rounded end of one bone fits into the cavity, the hollow space. As you can see, similar structure is there. Similar structure is present in our shoulder joint. There is a cavity, there is a round ball which have a hollow space or cavity inside which the upper arm, the bone of the upper arm is fixed. Upper arm has one end like a ball and it is getting fixed inside the cavity. Such a joint allows movement in all directions. Yes, because of this joint, we can rotate our hand in all the directions. Can you name other such joint you think of? Recollecting the body movements we tried at the beginning of the section. See, this is known as, this hollow cavity is known as socket, and this is the ball. So this type of joint is known as ball and socket joint. There is a ball which fits inside the cavity of a socket. This is known as ball and socket joint. This type of joint is present in our shoulder, and similar joint is present in our hip bone. This is the hip bone, and this is the joint through which our thigh is attached to the hips. Next is pivotal joint. The joint where our neck joins the head is called the pivotal joint. As you can feel the back side of your neck, it is the joint where our head joins the neck. It allows us to bend our head forward, backward, and turn our head right to left. How are these movements different from those of our arm that can rotate in a complete circle? Means through the ball and socket joint we can rotate our arm or thigh in complete circle, but we cannot rotate our neck bone in a complete circle. This joint only allows movement in forward, backward, left and right direction. In pivotal joint, what happens? As you can see, there is a long cylinder and in which Similar smaller rings of bones are there which show movement. That is why these bones cannot move in all direction. And this type of joint is present in our whole backbone. There is a small ring cylindrical bone on which the smaller bones known as vertebrae, they rotate on this ring. So this is known as pivotal joint. It is present in our neck and in our backbone. Next type of joint is hinge joints. Open and close a door a few times. Observe the hinges of the door carefully. Hinges are the metal structure through which the door is attached to the wall and it shows movement. These are the hinges. They allow the door to move back and forth. Forth means in front direction. So here is an activity again. Let us look at the kind of movement allowed by a hinge. Make a cylinder with the cardboard or thick chart paper as shown in figure 8.5. This is figure 8.5. Yes. Attach a small pencil to the cylinder by piercing. Piercing means by making a hole. The cylinder at the center as shown. Make a hollow half cylinder from cardboard such that the rolled up cylinder can fit inside it easily. The hollow half cylinder with the rolled up cylinder sitting inside it allows movement like a hinge. As you can see, there is a half cylinder and the rolled up cardboard paper is fixed in that, and we have pierced a pencil and it is allowing movement in one direction, either back or front. How is this movement different from what we saw with our constructed ball and socket joint? Is it different? Yes. In the ball and socket joint, the bone can rotate in 360 degree, means in all the direction. But in hinge joint, this type of joint shows movement or allows movement in single plane. We show this kind of movement. Where do we show this kind of movement in our body? Yes, you are right. We saw this kind of movement in the elbow in activity 1. What we have constructed in figure 8.5 is different from a hinge. So of course, but it illustrates the direction in which a hinge allows movements. The elbow has an hinge joint which allows only a back or forth movement, as you can see in figure number 8.6. This is the hinge joint of knee. You can bend your leg and you can allow movement in front and back direction only. The elbow. Can you think of more examples of such joints? As I have said, the hinge joint is present in the knee. It is present in the elbow. Next is fixed joints. Some joints between the bones in our head are different from those we have discussed so far, means till now. The bones cannot move at these joints. Such joints are called fixed joints, as I have explained earlier. When you open your mouth wide, you can move your only lower jaw from the head, isn't it? Yes, we can move only the lower jaw. Try to move the upper jaw, can we? No, we are not able to move it. There is a joint between the upper jaw and the rest of the body which is a fixed joint, means this type of joint do not show any movement. We discussed only some of the joints that connects the parts of our body. What gives the different parts of our body their different shapes? Let us see. If you wanted to make a doll, what will you make first? Perhaps you will make a framework. You must have seen when the images, the idols of the goddess Durga is prepared during Durga Puja, the framework of straws is first prepared, and after that the clay is applied to give a smooth finish. That straw is the framework. So similar framework of bones are present in our body, which provides a proper shape, a decent shape and a posture to the body. And that framework is known as skeleton. That framework is known as skeleton. Yes, all the bones in our body also form a framework. Similarly, as I have explained that a framework of a straw is prepared before applying the clay on the idols of goddess Durga during Durga Puja. So similarly, all our bones are attached, they are fixed in a proper framework, and this framework gives a decent and proper shape to our body. Yes, and this framework is called the skeleton. As you can see in the picture, this is the skeleton of human. Here is a science fact. The human skeleton is composed of around 305 bones at the birth. The number of bones in the skeleton changes with the age. It decreases to 206 bones by adulthood. Means when a child gets birth, it has 305 bones. But with due course of time, gradually the bone dissolves, and till adulthood only 206 bones are present in the human skeletal system. Now here the question arises, how do we know that this is the shape of a human skeleton? How do we know that the shape of the different bones in our body? We have some idea about the shape and the number of bones in some parts of our body. We can get the idea by feeling them. One way we could know this shape better would be to look at the X-ray images of the human body. X-ray images are taken when someone meets an accident and gets a fracture in the bone. X-rays are done to check the fractures and to check the injuries which are occurred in the bones. Did you or anyone in your family ever have an X-ray of any part of your body taken? Sometimes when we are hurt or have an accident, doctors use these X-ray images to find out about any possible injuries that might have happened to the bones. This is the X-ray that shows the shapes of the bones in our bodies. Now feel the bones in your forearm, upper arm, lower leg and upper leg. Try to find the numbers of bones in each part. Can you find? Similarly, feel the bones of your ankle and knee joints and complete these with X-ray image. Compare these with X-ray images. As you can see, this is the image of elbow and this is the image of the knee. Ankle and knee. This is the image X-ray of the ankle joint and this is the X-ray of the knee joint. Bend your fingers. Are you able to bend them at every joint? Yes, you are able. How many bones does your middle finger have? Feel the back of your palm. When you will touch the back of your palm, you can see there are several smaller bones attached together. It seems to have many bones, isn't it? This is figure number 8.9. As you can see, it seems to have many bones, right? Is your wrist flexible? Because of the presence of these bones, suppose there would be a single long bone, our wrist would not be so flexible because we can hold, we can twist, we can lift the things with the help of our wrist. This is because the presence of these smaller bones, and these several smaller bones are known as carpels. As I have said, what will happen if it has only one bone? The wrist would not be so flexible and we will not be able to lift things, hold things or move things with the help of our wrist. Here is the next activity. Take a deep breath and hold it a little while. Feel your chest bone and the backbone by gently pressing the middle of the chest and the back at the same time. Can you count the number of bones? Count as many ribs. Ribs, these are the bones which are present in the chest cavity, the chest. The bones which are present in the chest are known as ribs. Observe figure 8.10. Carefully and compare what you feel at the chest bones. We see that ribs are curiously bent. These are bent to form a cavity inside. And they join the chest bone, the chest bone towards the backbone to make a hollow space inside, cage-like structure inside. So this is known as rib cage. There are 12 ribs on each side of the chest. As you can see, the number of ribs on each side of the chest is 12. And some important internal organs of our body lie protected inside this case. Can you name the important organs that are protected in this case? Yes, it is our heart and the lungs. The heart and the lungs are protected inside this cage-like structure which is known as rib cage. Next, ask your friends to touch their toes without bending their knees. Starting from the neck, move your fingers downwards towards the back of your friend. What do you feel? Yes, when your friend is bent down to touch his or her toe, you can see this kind of structure from the starting point which is at the neck. As I have said earlier, here the head is joined with the neck. And what you feel is the backbone. It is made up of many small bones. All these bones are known as vertebrae. There are 33 vertebrae in our backbone. And the rib cage is joined with these bones. If the backbone was made up of only one long bone, will your friend be able to bend? No, even we cannot lie down to one side. Even we cannot sit. We will be lying straight on the bed and we cannot be able to sit, walk or lie to the sidewise. Now, make your friend stand with both hands pressed on the wall and ask her or him to push the wall. Do you notice? Two bones on the back are prominent where the shoulders are. These are called shoulder bones. As you can see here, these are called the shoulder bones. When your friend will be pushing the wall, you can see this kind of structure getting risen up, and this is the shoulder bone. Observe figure 8.13 carefully. This structure is made up of pelvic bones. Pelvic bones means this is the bone of your lower waist area, the area below your waist. They enclose the portion of your body below the stomach. As I have said, this is the area below the stomach and waist. This is the part you sit on. Yes, this is the bone on which you sit on. Next, you can see there is a figure of a skull. The skull is made up of many bones joined together, as I have said in the beginning of the session. It encloses and protects the very important part of the body. Yes, that is brain. We discussed many bones and joints of our skeleton. So in addition, there are some additional parts of the skeleton that are not as hard as the bones and which can be bent. These are called cartilage. Cartilages are attached to the bones at the joints. These are not hard like the bones, but they are the support which are present at the joints. These are the padding like structure which are present at the joints. Feel your ear. Do you find any hard bony part that can be bent? There do not seem to be any bones here. It seems that there is no bone present in the ear, isn't it? Do you notice anything different from the earlobe and the portion above it? See, this is the figure. This is the earlobe. The lower part of your ear is called earlobe and the upper part of your ear. So, is there any difference? Yes, there is any difference. There is the difference. Let us see what is the difference. You do feel something in the upper parts of the ear that is not as soft as the earlobe. See, this is the earlobe. This is the softest part. But you do not feel the same thing, the same texture here also in the upper part of your ear. Isn't it? But not hard. But this part is not even hard as the bone. So cartilage is also found. This is the cartilage. And it is found in the joints of our body. This hard portion of the ear is made up of cartilage. We have seen that our skeleton is made up of many bones, joints and cartilages. So you could feel, bend, move many parts of them. So draw a neat figure of a skeleton in the notebook. Well, this is your activity. You have to draw a well labeled figure of human skeleton in your notebook. We have learned about the bones in our body and about the joints that help us to move in different ways. What makes the bones to move the way they do? Now let us find out. Make a fist of your hand. Bend your arm at the elbow and touch your shoulder with the thumb. Do you see any changes in the upper arm? Touch it with the other hand. So as you can see, here the child has made a fist and he is trying to touch the shoulder bone. So when you will touch this part of your upper arm with the other hand, you will see there is contraction. This part has risen up. This part has swollen up. This part, the swollen region. This is the muscle. Yes, this is the muscles. The muscles bulge due to contraction. So when we have pulled the bones together, when we have pulled the bones to each other, so muscle have contracted. They have shifted to one place. That's why this region has swollen up. And it has become the muscles have become contracted, means they have become shorter in length. Now bring your arm back to its normal position. As you can see in figure number B, the arm is again to its normal position. What happened to the muscle? Is it still contracted? Means even after lowering your hand, can you feel that swollen area? No. You can observe similar contraction of muscles in your legs when you walk and you run. You can understand by these examples. You must have seen the flag of Ram Navami. It is a very huge flag. You must have seen many people are holding ropes and they are carrying that bamboo in which the flag is attached on their shoulders. And the places where they want to make the bamboo with the flag stand, they pull the rope from all directions. And this gives the upward movement to the bamboo with the flag. Similar things happens to our muscles also. When we move the bones closer to each other, the muscles shorten in length, means they become contracted, and when the bones are in normal positions, the muscles are relaxed. They are in their normal position. When contracted means shorten in length, the muscles become shorter, stiffer. Stiffer means thick, and stiffer means tight and thicker. It pulls the bones, as I have explained by giving the example of Ram Navami Jhanda. Muscles work in pair. When one of them contracts, the bone is pulled in that direction. The other muscles of the pair relaxes, as you can see here. See, when the arm is moved closer towards the shoulder, the muscles in the upper arm upper side of the bone is contracted and the muscles in the lower side of the arm is relaxed. So the other pair of muscles are relaxed when one pair is contracted. The muscles only can pull. It cannot push. Thus, the two muscles work together to move a bone. Next is, are muscles and bones always required for movement? How do other animals move? Do all animals have bones? Then what about an earthworm or a snail? So we will be discussing about the movements of various animals, that is the gait of animals, in the next part of this video.